I'm 74 years old, and I'm about to tell you something that might upset you. I spent 56 years of my life becoming invisible, not because anyone forced me to, but because I was terrified of disappointing people. And I want you to hear this before it's too late. You see, I spent the first 50 years of my life believing a beautiful lie. I thought I was being a good man, a man people could count on. I had the marriage, the job, the respect. I was dependable, agreeable, never made waves. I said yes to everything. And you know what? It felt like the right way to live. But at 68, something happened that shattered everything I thought I knew. And what I discovered in the last 6 years has completely changed how I see who I am and who I could have been. Let me tell you the biggest lie you're probably telling yourself right now. You're telling yourself that being easy to live with is the same thing as being loved. That agreeing with everyone, never saying no, always putting yourself last. You're telling yourself that's kindness. That's what good men do. I see men in their 20s, 30s, even 40s, and they're all saying the same thing. I can't do what I want because my wife needs me. I can't pursue that because my kids need my paycheck. I can't have opinions that upset my family. I can't disappoint anyone. I hear it constantly. And every single time, I want to tell them what I finally learned at 68. Let me save you 56 years of regret with one simple truth. People don't actually love your compliance. They love your authenticity. They love your presence. But nobody, and I mean nobody, falls in love with a ghost. That's what I was, a ghost. I didn't know my own favorite food. I couldn't tell you my favorite color because I'd spent so long asking everyone else what they preferred. My wife once asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday, and I literally couldn't answer. 50 years of marriage, and I had never said what I actually wanted. Not once. When I was 35, I wanted to be a carpenter. I was good with my hands. It made me feel alive. But my father said it wasn't stable enough, so I became an accountant. I hated every single day for 33 years. I told myself I was being responsible, that I was sacrificing for the family. But the truth, I was just afraid of disappointing someone who mattered to me. So I died a little inside, day after day, and I told myself it was love. Here's something nobody tells you when you're a people pleaser. You can't actually make anyone happy by erasing yourself. Because the people who love you don't love the version of you that's pretending. They don't even get to meet the real you. You rob them of that. My divorce came at 68. Not because of infidelity or cruelty, but because after 45 years, my wife finally said the thing that haunts me every day. She said, "I don't know who you are. I've never known who you are, and I can't spend the rest of my life with a stranger." That destroyed me. But it was true. My son called me after the divorce and said something I'll never forget. He said, "Dad, I don't know what you actually believe about anything. I don't know what you want your life to mean. You taught me how to be agreeable. You never taught me how to be real." He was 38 years old, and he realized he'd never heard his own father's actual opinion, never heard what he actually wanted, never seen him stand up for something that mattered to him. My closest friend of 40 years started distancing himself. I asked him why. He said, "Every conversation with you is like talking to a mirror. You just reflect back what I want to hear. You never tell me what you think. and I'm tired of talking to myself. That was the moment. I was 68 years old, alone despite being married, empty despite having a career, and completely lost because I had spent my entire life being who everyone else wanted me to be. I had no self left. I was a collection of other people's expectations in a human suit. The cancer diagnosis came 6 months later. The doctor said it was treatable. But something in that hospital room broke open. I was lying there, and I realized something terrifying. If I died, what would I leave behind? Not achievements, not memories of a man people could rely on, but the absence of a human being who actually existed. That's when I finally got angry. Real, honest, burning anger at myself for wasting 56 years trying to be small enough to fit into everyone else's comfort. I did something radical. I said no. I actually said the word no. To my boss about working late. No to my mother about visiting every Sunday. No to obligations that drained me. No to being the person people had gotten used to. And something happened that I never expected. The world didn't collapse. My mother was angry for a few weeks. Then she got over it. My boss found someone else to exploit. The people who truly mattered. They started seeing me. Actually seeing me. For the first time in 56 years, I started therapy. I picked up woodworking. Not as a hobby, as a declaration. I had opinions about movies, strong ones. I had dreams I'd buried at 35. I actually told people what I thought, even when it wasn't what they wanted to hear. My son called me 6 months later. He said, "Dad, I just realized I've never heard you disagree with anyone. When did that start?" I told him the truth. I told him I'd been so busy being agreeable that I'd forgotten how to have a voice. Here's what I want you to understand. Being a people pleaser isn't kindness. It's cowardice dressed up as consideration. It's you saying, "I'm so afraid of your anger, your disappointment, your rejection, that I'll disappear myself to keep you comfortable." And the people who love you, they don't want a ghost. They want a man, a real man, someone who knows what he stands for, someone who will say no when he needs to, someone who will disappoint people sometimes, because he's choosing to be authentic. The relationship with my ex-wife is better now than it ever was, because I'm finally a real person. She can actually relate to me. We can disagree. We can have real conversations. She can see who I am, and she can decide if that's who she wants in her life, not this sanitized version of agreeability. That's what people actually want, not compliance, not a man who says yes to everything, but a man who is willing to be fully himself, even if that makes other people uncomfortable. Your regrets won't be about the times you disappointed someone. Trust me. They'll be about the life you didn't live because you were too busy managing everyone else's emotions. I don't lie awake at night thinking about the times I said no to my mother. I think about the 33 years I spent as an accountant instead of a carpenter. I think about conversations with my son that could have been real, but were just me agreeing with everything he said. I think about the man I could have been if I hadn't been so terrified of making waves. There won't always be more time to figure out who you are. I was lucky. I got 6 more years. But those 6 years would have been worthless if I'd spent them still trying to be who everyone else wanted. Here's a question I want you to ask yourself. And I want you to answer it honestly. Who are you when nobody's watching? And if you can't answer that question, what are you waiting for? If you died tomorrow, would the people who love you feel like they actually knew you? Or would they feel like you were always one step behind, always managing their emotions, always performing? Let me tell you the most liberating thing I learned. Real love survives disagreement. Real love survives disappointment. Real love only comes when you're willing to be fully yourself and let someone else decide if they want you anyway. The people worth having in your life, they'll love you more when you're real than they ever could when you're fake. I'm 74. I don't have 56 more years to figure this out. But you might. And I'm telling you, don't waste them being agreeable. Don't waste them being small. Don't waste them being invisible. Start now, not next year, not when it's safer, not when everyone's adjusted to the real you. Now, say no to something today. Have an opinion. Let someone down gently, but let them down. Start becoming the person you actually are instead of the person you think people need you to be. Your life is waiting for you, but not the ghost version. The real version. The one with a voice, with boundaries, with edges that don't fit neatly into everyone else's expectations. Stop disappearing yourself. Start showing up as who you actually are. And if this lands with you, share this video. Leave a comment and tell me, who are you when nobody's watching? And subscribe because I've got more truth to share, and unlike before, I'm done pretending.